Flavor is a quantity that your brain creates. So when you eat some food, eat a grilled cheese, drink some soda, eat a potato chip, you don't have receptors in your mouth or in your head somewhere that are potato chip receptors or grilled cheese receptors or Coca-Cola receptors. What you have are taste buds on your tongue, bitter, sour, salty, sweet, umami. You have olfactory receptors that measure all kinds of different volatile molecules and create an impression of the smell. And then you have a number of other receptors, things that detect things like texture, temperature, viscosity, these different qualities of the mouthfeel. And your brain is taking all these pieces of information, putting them together to create flavor. And when you're a consumer, you can just eat or drink, and just enjoy whatever you're eating or drinking without thinking about this too much. When you step to the other side of that experience and you are now the creator, you're a chef, you're a baker, you're a bartender, it's important to remember that these channels are separate and they all need to be optimized individually. And one way to learn about how these channels are separated is with a couple of different experiments. So there's a test called the jelly bean test. And the idea is that you take a little candy, it could be a jelly bean, could be a gummy candy, just something that has kind of an ambiguous color. Maybe it's cherry, maybe it's strawberry, maybe it's grape. You can't really tell by looking at it. And what you want to do is plug your nose to the point that no air is flowing through your nose. And what that's going to do is when you chew it, normally if your nose is not plugged, as you chew, air travels through your nasal passages, whatever aromatic molecules are coming out of the food go up into your nose, you smell them, and that is another channel that your brain takes to create your impression of flavor. If your nose is plugged, you cut off that airflow, you can no longer smell anything. The only information you get is now from your tongue, the bitter, sour, salty, sweet, umami. So if I do this, I'm going to plug my nose fully, chew the candy. It's a little bit sour, it's a little bit sweet. That's really all I get. The second I unplug my nose and air can flow, now I can perceive that that is a grape candy. And that grape aroma pairs nicely with the sour sweetness of the candy. Everything is congruent. It's a delicious flavor. I enjoy it. So another big idea is that a lot of the signals that create flavor are happening at a subconscious level. So some things we're consciously aware of, some things, even though they're happening, we're not aware of them, we can't talk about them. So when I bite into a potato chip or a pretzel, some salty snack, I don't get a readout of, okay, my brain and my taste buds are perceiving 10 parts salty, 2 parts umami, crunch at a level 7. I don't get that information. What I get is an overall impression, sort of an identity quantity, saying, oh, that's a pretzel. And I also get a hedonic rating, meaning how much do I enjoy it? Oh, it's crunchy, it's salty, it's a little bit fatty. Good, it's a good pretzel. So those are the two big quantities I get when I eat a pretzel. And that's what's available to my conscious brain, and not all of these signals of bitter, sour, salty, sweet, different aromatics. My brain has already taken all of this low-level subconscious information and combined it to create flavor, and that's what I'm able to think about and what I become aware of. Now, another big thing, considering these different signals, is that there has to be some harmony between them. And it's not just harmony between sense and taste, although that is important. It's also harmony between what I'm expecting and what I receive. If somebody tells me, here's a nice steaming hot cup of coffee, and I take a sip and it's cold, I might spit it out. It's not what I was expecting. It's gross. Or if somebody tells me, So that harmony between what you're expecting and what you actually receive is important because your brain is now primed to expect a certain thing, and if what you get is not what you expected, we tend to reject that. So the way an item is described on a menu, the verbal description that you give when you give someone a food or a drink is very important because it primes them to expect a certain flavor, and if that expectation is not met, that can be very problematic. And there's a bulk term for that, or a blanket term for that, called congruence, which is we want the flavor that's delivered to match the flavor that was expected. We also want the scent and the taste to have a certain harmony between them. So if I bite into something sweet and sour like that candy, but the aroma that I get is roasted meat, that's going to be weird. Those aren't really congruent. That's not a congruent aroma with the taste. There's a weirdness there that is going to throw me off. I might even spit that out. So in the evolutionary role, flavor is making sure that whatever we're eating is not going to harm us. And hopefully it's going to help us. It's going to give us energy. It's going to give us vitamins. It's going to give us, necessary nutrients. And it's not going to be spoiled. It's not going to have anything gross in there that could harm us. So taking all these ideas into account is very important when you are creating flavor.